Hello and welcome to episode 6 of my Big Brother reunions. In today's episode, I am reuniting the winner Anthony, I am reuniting Maxwell and Eugene from Big Brother 6. They reflect on their time on the show and much more. Don't forget to tune in on Friday where we have the stars and everyone's been waiting for this, the Big Brother 7 reunion. We have so many Big Brother 7 legends, including Susie. We've got Leah, we've got Glyn, we've got the winner Pete. We have so many. It's the biggest lineup we've had yet. It's not to be missed. That's on Friday. Don't forget to tune in for that one. But I hope you enjoyed this Big Brother 6 reunion and enjoy it. So, welcome to the show, everyone. And we've got another special reunion here, and I can't wait to bring. So let's say hello to Eugene first of all. How are you? Sat in your garden?
Hello, I'm very well. Yes, sitting in my garden, bit of mess behind, but I'll survive that, I think. Just in case there's a flood, I've got a kayak. I don't fit.
We've got the same banter as always that we're looking forward to, and we got Maxwell as well. Well, that was brief.
Have you kicked him off already?
And then we've got
I need a rest.
We got the winner. I think one of the most popular winners in the show's history. We've got Anthony. How are you?
I'm very good. I was looking forward to doing this. Really, I've not. Some of the everyone else apart from Max, I don't think I've spoke to or seen for absolutely years. So yeah, it's I'm looking forward to seeing where this interview goes.
Well, we're just waiting on Ola and Craig.
It's going to be a toes up, me, you, and Eugene, I think. And I don't know what side you want to take.
We're hoping to get more people coming in. So I want to ask you, all of you, really, what was it about the show that made you want to actually apply for it? So what was it that kind of felt right and made you want to go for it? Because I know Maxwell, we were speaking before then, and you actually applied for Series 5 of Big Brother.
Yeah, like I said, Frankie came on. Do you know what it was? I'll tell you what, I was working in Topshop. Before I got a job doing electrics there, I was working behind the tills, and Jade Goody came. I used to watch it all the time, but Jade Goody came in one day, and she was returning something or other. It was worth about £3, but she come returned it, and I was like, oh, like she fully as everyone's saying it, so I want to go in that show. She went, you should just do it. Don't worry about anyone else. Just go on there. And I just thought, yeah, do you know what? Why not? So I applied when I applied, I had to queue. There was like a 6-hour queue. You had to get taken in. I think there's about 15 people that worked for Channel 4 at the time. They took 10 people at a time out of the queues. 150 people every 20 seconds they're taking in to try. And you had to sell yourself 10 seconds. Why should you be in Brother? Go 10 seconds, 10 seconds. You had to sell yourself in 10 seconds in a group of like 10, 20 people. I don't know if everyone had a similar sort of audition. And it just went from there, basically. The reason I wanted to do it, a true thought, wanted to win 100 grand, get on a telly, never work again.
But Anthony took that away.
No, he's never been on the telly since.
I've been on fucking more than you, son.
Anthony, what made you want to go and take part in the show? And did you kind of know that you'd be popular before going in?
So there was why did I go on? So basically, the background of, so I was all my life as a young lad, I wanted to be a footballer. I was obsessed with trying to be a footballer. I was really sensible lad, and everything was football. And as a result of that, there was no schoolwork got done. So basically, I didn't become a footballer, and I basically had no education, done terrible in my GCSEs, and the first job I got was a postman. And I think I'd done the job for about a year and a half. And I remember thinking, like, is this me? There was blokes who I worked with who'd they'd done the job for 20 years. And I remember thinking, is this my life? And I wasn't happy with that at all. And as unrealistic as it sounded, I thought, if I get on Big Brother, that could change things up. That could change my life up. That could get me where I want to be. That could get me nice things. And that was kind of like that was kind of my ideas that I thought, you know what, I'm going to go for this Big Brother. I absolutely love the show. I
I
was
St
like,
James's Park, didn't you have it?
well,
You
yeah,
scored a cracker.
there was, yeah. So that was my thought. It literally came to my head. I thought, I'm going to go on that Big Brother, try and win it, and make some money, and yeah, and that was literally me mindset. So yeah, that's why I went on. And it, like I said, it might sound unrealistic, but to me, deludedly, I thought I would have a chance of getting on. And yeah, I was like I said, I was a big fan of the show. I think like all of us, I think most of us were fans of the show, and I was always curious how I would do on the show.
And what about
And
you,
that's it.
Eugene?
Yeah, my story is a little bit odd, like me.
Shock.
I used to work at a radio station in Scotland. I had a few friends there. I was working back in London, and I went up to Glasgow for the weekend to go to a friend's party. Went to the friend's party, and the next day, my friend, a guy called Matt Finley, he was working, doing his show at Beat 106, and he said to me, Eugene, would you be able to, my girlfriend, she's gone to the Big Brother audition in Edinburgh, would you be able to, this afternoon, pick her up from the audition, because I'm doing my show, and she might end up having to wait on the call.
Eugene.
It's supposed to be Dundee. And so went up there, got there about...
Eugene, you haven't changed one bit, by the way.
Thank you. And so I got up there about 5 o'clock or 4:45, something like that. That's a lie, about 4 o'clock. And the queue's still about 200 people in it. It was about 100 meters long, but they were taking 3 groups of 10 people at a time. They're going, hello, Big Brother, right? So you want to go on it, tell us what your name is, what you do, any funny stories, that kind of thing. So they go through and they get to me and I go, hello, my name's Eugene. I'm from Crawley near Gatwick Airport. It should be called Crawley International. Well, what do you do? I said, I measure transmitters for the BBC, but that's a bit anarchic. I used to work for a radio station in Glasgow. Everybody took drugs. And they said, any funny stories? And I said, I once was helping out on Radio 2 at the Edinburgh Festival, and as I'm leaving the building, there's this famous person banging on the door. I open the door, the famous person standing there, I recognise the face, and I go, are you David Dimbleby? He goes, no, I'm Nicholas Parsons. And they sent me and 2 other people to the next stage. And I think everything I did was very dry.
You got proof for that story?
What?
Fucking hell. They must have been clutching at straws when they got down at you. I'm only finding out joking.
I think because I was very dry but witty in a kind of like, not don't care, but I knew nothing would come of it. So there was no point in trying. I thought, I'll just play along and see what the process is like. And then eventually after that, they ring me back saying, can you come back tomorrow? And then like a month later, they say, oh, could you come to an audition? It kept kind of going along. I thought, oh, well, this is quite interesting. And then, as I said, like Maxwell, I was in the dry run, and I thought, wow, this is quite good. Nothing will come of it though. And then suddenly, out of the blue, I had to go in halfway through the series, so it was a complete surprise. But I think I got through the net by accident.
I'll tell you what was crazy when me and Max were talking when the show, the kind of the repeats, when Davina brought that show that was all the shows that we get repeated this lockdown. It was crazy because I remember getting. Did you get hidden away? Because I got hidden away in France for 2 weeks before the show started.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I didn't get told I was on the show till about 2.5 weeks. I'd assumed that I wasn't on it, and then I got a random call on. I think it was on a Wednesday. To quickly come down to London, and crazy times, like crazy times.
They let me know about a month before. I was walking down in Embankment with Cheeks. Like, I think it's a bank holiday Sunday, or no, bank holiday. It was bank holiday weekend anyway. I was walking down with my pal. My phone went, and they told me. I only told about 2 people. So my pal Cheeks anyway. They gave me about a month to sort myself out, or maybe a little bit less. And it took me down to the south of France. I had 2 weeks down there, and literally just got hammered with this geezer from Channel 4. It was like unlimited booze, like steak and chips every night. It was fantastic. I'd organised Arsenal playing the FA Cup final while I was away, and I'd organised everything for my pals. We had Hummer limousines going down there, organised the hotels. I was right looking forward to it. And all of a sudden, obviously, I just dropped off the face of the earth. So all my pals were like, what's going on? I told two of them, and they had to sort of like try and. I said, "Oh, we've got some family problems in Greece." I don't know why it's in Greece. I've got nothing Greek about me. But and ended up down in France, and I remember this is a story I like to tell, and I always think about these girls, right? So the night before, you came back from France, the night before you went on Big Brother, and we put us in Sopwell House. But we went through the pipe, we went through the tunnel, Channel Tunnel. Then I'd run out of toiletries while I was away. I went into the Boots in where was we? Shopping at Lakeside on the way down just to top up, and I was in the queue of Boots, and there's 4 girls behind me, and they were going, "Are you going down Sally's house tomorrow night? Watch Big Brother?" She was like, "Yeah, can't wait for the series, can't wait to watch it. Who's coming down there?" There's like a massive Big Brother party the following night. And this was before camera phones and all that. So I remember turning around to them in the queue. And I said, "You all right, girls?" They were like, "Yeah." "Remember my face." And "What are you on about, you weirdo?" I said, "Remember my fucking face." And that was it. And I took all my stuff and went there. I was like looking at each other going, "Who is that weirdo?" And I always think of these girls, what they must have thought and said the night after. They must have gone, "Oh my God, it was in Boots." And our pals wouldn't have believed them. No one would have believed a word of it, would they? I always remember that one.
And Maxwell, what you don't know is we've actually got them joining us today. Anthony, I wanted to talk to you because I think when we mention your year, a lot of people in life, you get Ant and Dec, Holly and Phil, but everyone knows Anthony and Craig. And you did have a really good friendship in there. Obviously, at times there were arguments. So going back to your time with Craig, what was it about Craig initially that made you so close to him?
So basically, there was in the house that it was split into 2 groups. You had me, Max, Saskia, and Craig, and then you had all the rest. And so obviously Max and Saskia, when they got evicted, they left me. It was just basically me and Craig, and so then there was just the 2 of us. And then obviously kind of things kind of developed, and it got quite, it got intense.
Yeah.
And honestly to this day, it's crazy. I think the reason why I won, I think there was a number of reasons, but basically the two biggest situations I would say that happened in the house was basically the relationship with me and Craig, and then you had the Macausey hot tub night, and I would say kind of both of them situations, I came out well out of both of them situations in terms of kind of how it came across in public's perception of the situations. So
it was a tough watch with Anthony, because obviously, like he says, we was all pretty tight in there, and there's times that Craig was like,
because I think you knew you would try to play it down.
And I was always in the middle. Craig sometimes said something, and he used to go under the covers and go like, I was like, everyone knows that. You ain't got, you might not have come out properly, but come on, mate. You don't, and we was all good pals in there. But I think because we was all on the sofas, chilling out and having a laugh, all 3 of us, well, when the Saskia, it was me, Anthony and Craig, that he didn't really have the opportunity to play up like he did when I left. You know what I mean? I felt sorry for Anthony, really. But like he says, he handled it really well. He never shouted at him. He never sort of, some people might act a different way, and I don't know. Some people take it funny, didn't they? And maybe have tried to have a tear up or whatever. But Andy took it really well. Like he said, it came out smelling the roses. Same thing with the Macausey thing.
I mean,
it was very. It was such a crazy experience, because obviously you've got the Big Brother experience, which was very, very surreal.
Yeah.
And then I was like, a young lad's lad. I say lad's lad. I was a 70s disco dancer and a hairdresser who wore false tan, who had his eyebrows plucked and regularly wore pink.
Proper geezer.
I was a proper lad's lad, wasn't I? But I'd basically, I'd never really I'd not come into close contact really with, or kind of got to know a gay lad, and obviously that. Then I obviously did, and then there was, I had to deal with that situation. It'll be, I mean, I haven't spoken to Craig for pretty much when the show finished.
Come on, Lewis.
He's meant to come on, and he's cutting hair, and I've sent him a message, so I'm hoping he's going to join some point through, because as a fan watching the show, I mean, you were very kind, you treated him like you would treat everyone, and it was such a nice friendship. And I think feelings obviously got developed for him towards you, and that kind of just, you were no longer a friend. I think when you when you fancy someone, it's hard to just switch those feelings off. And I think the way you handled it, like you said, is probably a big part of why you won, because you handled it with so much dignity. You were putting yourself in his shoes almost to kind of understand how he was feeling. So I think that was a really nice side to see.
Yeah, it was kind of, when I've watched it back, it's always kind of nice to hear that's how I handled it. But I sometimes, even now, I watch it back and think, I would be able to articulate it way better now, in terms of I think I would have kind of literally sat him down and went, listen, you need, this needs to stop. But
instead of crying and throwing up, you mean?
I want me mum and me gran. I still do that when I'm hungover, so.
Anthony, Eugene, this is a question I want to ask you. It seems you both here. I just sprang to mind. What I thought Anthony's going to win this show, towards the end, But then when they dropped it one night, and I remember it was like yesterday. There was they didn't let everyone hear in the house what was going on. They didn't let Eugene hear what was going on. But basically, he went in. They asked anyone to go into the diary room. Eugene went in, had a big case of money, and they said, if you take this is what Eugene. I think this is what Eugene. If you take 50 grand, you got 50 grand, but you can't win. But if you don't take it, I don't think you heard this bit. The winner gets 200 grand, right? That's what, I don't think you heard that bit, did you, Eugene?
Well, I think once I was told about it, what I think they said, you can take the money, it's yours. If you don't, the prize money will double. And I'm thinking, well, yes, so I know it's 100 grand, but what I didn't realise was they meant it went to 200. And so I slightly misunderstood it. I think I'd have still take the money anyway.
I've got a feeling if you hadn't have took that, I think the tables might have turned and you might have walked away with 200 grand, because they might have gone, bloody hell, he's not taking the money.
How dare you?
I was going to say, I think genuinely, Anthony was better looking, but also I think the tolerance and the good management of everything, because he was good fun to be around.
Do you feel like you owe him,
very level-headed?
Do you feel like you owe him 50 grand?
Sorry?
Do you feel like you owe Anthony a bit of money now?
I think he did all right out of it afterwards.
You know what though? It's interesting that what you've said there, Max. I think who knows it. It all depends what kind of mentality or how you think. Are things meant to be, or is it is it where kind of random decisions kind of unfold, and that's why things happen.
Of course.
You really don't know. It's an interesting point, but I don't know if you. I always kind of had in my mindset when I was going in that I was very much hung up on winning the show. That I was kind of
I remember that. I was
obsessive with it in my head, and I think that's always been with me. And I don't know whether I'm a believer in kind of positivity and mindset. And for me, it was always I'm gonna get on there, and anything else other than winning was not an option for me. And that was my mindset, and that was my kind of positivity in my head. But like you said, it's a good point that you've raised there, Max. Who knows?
So if I wish I had a bit more, I remember you telling me once, and he was in there. You said you need to do. He's thinking a bit more straight about the whole thing. For the most part, I was going in there throwing fucking fish fingers at people and having tear ups and just having all sorts of trouble. But
well, my plan, I don't know whether you can remember, but each of us got asked what is your plan, I got asked of the producer, it was like, what's your plan? And my plan was just to have no plan. I was like, I was confident that I was a nice guy, and I thought, if you go in and have fun, let everything else take care of itself. The only thing that I did tell myself was probably one of your schoolboy errors, Max, is I did tell myself I'm not getting with a girl in terms of anything serious, because I'd watched it before and I'd seen lads get bogged down with kind of basically with a girlfriend, and I thought, you know what, there's no chance that's happening. I'm going in there, I'm going to try and get with all the girls, and I'm just going in for fun. And I think that you might not like to hear it, but
let's have it right.
Your Achilles heel.
Yeah, no, of course everyone says it. Everyone, my mum, my wife, like my pals, everyone. But I think
I seen you as the major. I seen you as the major. I seen you when I walked in. I thought there was a hell of a lot of characters, and I thought, flipping hell, like this is there's some characters in here.
Yeah.
And so my competitive head, I'd weighed everything up, and obviously you were a hilarious guy, and the quick wit and the one-liners were just like, I was trying to do a joke and you were like that already. you were already in there. So I kind of thought, yeah, this guy's kind of like I was conflicted because you were my best mate, and really, it was fantastic having a lad who was basically similar to me, just a different accent. So obviously me and you just got on, straight away. But then that was easy. That was nice. It was on the flip side, like this fucker is probably the major threat.
So basically, what Anthony's trying to say is keep your friends close. Keep your friends close. He's closer. So he's tucked me right up, isn't he? He's definitely had a word. Yeah.
Maxwell.
But you know what, Anthony? What he said about
Max, I think you should get with Saskia. This will be a
very
good reward for you.
Let's have it right. I would have been on the same mindset as Anthony, but when you looked around at the crumpet in there when I was in it, she said, Mary, and fucking Sam, who went through dustbins, that's no word of lie, had others from Hudders, right? Don't get me started on that. Had Makosi, not really my cup of tea, had that girl, I can't remember her name, she was so boring. Vanessa,
yeah. Orla, which one?
And that was about so it was sort of, and it was, I went straight away, and obviously it didn't last a distance. It went straight away, I didn't like, but after a few weeks, I was just like, something to do. Do you know what I mean? As much as I did love a foot rub from Craig, it's just like, it's mad really. I wish I had a bit more of a mindset on me than thinking a bird, but.
I mean, Maxwell, you don't sit on the fence, which I love. So I want to ask you, who in there did you find the most annoying? Like, it was just hard to live with them. You had to bite your tongue. Like, was there anyone that just stood out as the most kind of irritating?
Science.
Yeah. He loved to push buttons, didn't he?
I got on with the people that we didn't work out. I got on with Derek straight away because I just like listening to him. His stories. He's very clever. And he was Anthony never got on with him, so sometimes I felt myself a little because Anthony hated the geezer, but I quite liked him. He made me laugh.
He hated me. That's why I hated him.
So I found it hard to like the geezer because obviously I was Team Anthony or whatever. Or that's not. But Science, it was just like he made me laugh sometimes, but it was just aggravating. Like he wouldn't stop talking. Funny enough, the first round of interviews you all get, when you get a bit further, there's like 10 of you all get put to a makeshift diary room and you have to sell yourself for a minute. After you sell yourself for 10 seconds, you go further and you've got to sell yourself for a minute in these makeshift diary rooms in the O2, wherever it was, the Excel Centre. And I remember I was halfway through, I just started talking to you like this, and there's just a camera in front of you, nothing but a black camera and then someone behind it. And then you can hear people in the other little cubicles, and they had this geezer who's whining on. No. And he lost me concentration. So I've got out, I've said, sorry about this. I opened the curtain, went next door and given him a bollocking. It was Science. Anyway, I've sat back down. I've got about 3 seconds left. I've gone, I'm really sorry I fucked this up, but I couldn't hear myself thinking the geezer was driving me mad. And they said, because of what you did there, you went out and confronted this geezer who was obviously we could hear in the background. He said, we loved that straight away. So obviously it done me favours. And think he probably would have been all right. I was on Ministry of Mayhem with him, and he got his hair done, all these like cornrows on the head, and the dreaded. And I got this custard pie. You never seen anything like it. Off of Holly Willoughby, Jimmy's custard pie. I've done it all in his hair. Oh, best thing I've ever done in my life.
I'm
Looking
surprised
back
he didn't come on.
Yeah, me and Science, we occasionally will speak on Facebook. Like it'll just, if there's like a story or something, he'll kind of maybe drop a message. Or the last time I saw him, he had his afro out, and he was saying how big his afro was. So I dropped him a little message. But I mean, looking back though, like Science had really bad kind of people skills. There was no conversation.
Yeah.
There was no debate. It was he would literally just scream, talk over you. There was no kind of like diplomatic debate.
What about you, Eugene? Did anyone stand out as, because you seem quite easygoing? I couldn't imagine you being annoyed. You just kind of let it go under the.
Keep going. Like Sunday morning, you know. No, I was quite up. I was quite uptight a lot of it because I was really nervous. It took me about 4 or 5 weeks before I became relaxed. But I was going to say regarding Science, I got on well with him. But I must say, like you know, a lot of my friends find me quite intense because I like talking a lot. I know it sounds hard to believe because I'm in amongst here people with a lot bigger personalities than me. But no, I got on right with him. But yes, sometimes. But sometimes, yeah, Science would get carried away. But no, I liked him. He was a good guy, and I think in some respects, so they've never admitted. I think Science and Derek were very similar in a lot of ways because both were quite outspoken, quite intelligent, and quite creative as well. I think probably the ones that I struggled with was I didn't dislike Caller, but I did find her sometimes a little bit panicky.
Like me, you evicted me, Eugene. You didn't like me.
I did, yeah. I think that was probably a faux pas on my part. That was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think you nominated. It was probably. Who were you against at the time? It wasn't someone like Derek, was it?
Did he, Anthony?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's because I've got on well with Science, you see. But so sorry about that.
Yeah, you nominated me a couple of times as well.
Do you know what it was a borderline. Me being safe or me getting nominated. He went down to Eugene and he said, because I nicked his clothes. That was you, Anthony. You robbed his clothes out the floor. That wasn't even me.
What was it?
Who were you up against when I evicted you, or voted for you, Anthony?
No, I wasn't up for nomination, but I wasn't up for eviction. I mean, but you did nominate me. I think, to be fair, I think you were entitled to, because it was for basically being lazy and not doing anything around the house. And I didn't lift a finger in that house. Like, I was ridiculously lazy. I don't know how I kind of.
Can I tell you something? You might know there was. I think Craig got a little bit upset one night. You know, only a tiny bit, over me fixing the button on your jeans.
Yes, I remember that.
Do you know what the real truth behind that was? It's very funny. There were two things. There's no blame of yours. But you made good cups of tea. But you might have noticed when I made cups of tea, they were shit. And that's because I was trying to save tea bags and making you and Kinga cups of tea with one tea bag between the three save the tea bags. And Craig thought that I had the hots for you because I was making you lots of cups of tea, because it was only you and Kinga who drank cups of tea. But I found your button, and the problem is I'd broken the button on my jeans, but I didn't want to go in the diary room and ask for a sewing kit because I knew they'd start interrogating me. So I thought, I found Anthony's button. If I ask Anthony to get a sewing kit, then he can go in the diary room and ask for it. He'll get the interrogation, and I can fix his button, and I can fix mine. So basically, all I wanted was a sewing kit, but the knock-on of it was
that's an exclusive right there.
Craig thought I was either after Anthony because I was fixing his jeans. And it was just, I wanted a sewing kit to fix my ones, and that was the opportunity. But I always used to hate going to the diary room because I always felt to start probing
that's my
and asking me questions.
Anthony, you loved that as well. We both loved. I loved the diary room. We loved going in there. It was fucking.
Did you like nominating, or was doing nominations tough for you?
Easy.
I found it. I found it kind of. I was comfortable doing it. Really, I thought it was just. It was all part and parcel of the Big Brother experience.
Yeah.
So, and I think it was like, yeah, it was kind of. It was a good way to vent, and also the kind of the diary room was kind of that was a time where you did almost kind of like feel on some form of stage. That was kind of like where you knew kind of like, right, I'm talking to Big Brother, and kind of like, you know, you might want to try and be funny or whatnot.
Yeah. Anthony did the best impression. I remember Anthony always doing the impression of it. Go on, Anthony. Go on. Let's hear it.
Of who?
This is
this is Big Brother. I remember him. He was called Dennis. He was sound him.
Yeah, little bald geezer.
Yeah, he was sound.
And we've got him on Zoom today. Next to you, Anthony. Maxwell, do you regret kind of finding love in the house and having a relationship? Is it something you look back?
I wouldn't call it finding love. I call it finding a massive pair of tits, to be fair. Although
he hasn't changed.
Looking back, that's what it was. At the time, it was just sort of like we'd done everything together. We used to brush our teeth together. But yeah, I massively regret it because obviously Anthony's a blinding guy, and we might have gone all the way neck and neck. Who knows? But everyone says, "Oh, if you weren't for her, if you weren't for her, something else could have happened. I could have done something terrible in there if I had stayed in. You know what I mean? I could have had a tear up. I could have put science on it. Anything. So everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
But I regret it more through what happened after. There we go. She would have bought me a bottle of wine like my wife does.
I thought you were going to bring her onto the camera, but then a bottle of wine comes.
Yeah, I thought that.
Anthony
That's what we like about Max. He's original every time.
Anthony will tell you.
This is the difference between me and Max. I'm on mineral water. Max is on
and I'm on
wine.
tea, except it's empty now.
Right, so yeah, I regret the fun I could have had after. I'll be honest with you. And don't get me wrong, I didn't have a stinker of a time, and we earned some money together, but I didn't like her like that. She was a lunatic. It was just like, oh, what have I done, sort of thing. Oh, it's a nightmare. So yeah, I regret that massively, to be fair. And I was only 24 at the time. I didn't really know what I was doing. It was hard. I didn't expect anything when I came out. The day I came out, I went to 4 of the best hotels in London. Me and Cheeks. I was getting told I'm going to earn this much, and this much, and we're going to go fly you to this place and pay you to do this and that. And it was just nutty. It was craziness. I think everyone probably had to say I had a driver for a while. The first time I was getting driven around this place, it was red hot day. It was a fucking day. It was the day after the London bombs. It was still banged down. I still made the front page of the paper, which is even more ridiculous. But it was made at Angel Junction. I'm from Islington, was at Angel. And we was talking about, been to these 4 places. I had a bottle of champagne at every gaff, and I was already half cut for the night before. And the geezer went, look, roll the window down. If you want to see something funny. So I rolled the window, put my head out, and a whole bus stop chased the car down the road. It was mad. It was massive. It was massive. It was 12 million people watched it, wasn't it, Anthony? Eugene, 12 million people watched it when we was on there.
It was ridiculous how I think we got on the kind of the real crisp of the wave, like, because I think you had Big Brother 1, 2, and 3 were really good, and then they had Big Brother 4, which was very, very boring. And then so I think they kind of changed their angle, and they thought, right, we're just going to Big Brother 5, we're going to throw some characters in, and I think Big Brother 5, if I remember rightly, that's when they give housemates an actual entrance. So then you had you had Big Brother 5 that had really kind of boosted the show back up. Yeah. And then obviously you had our season following, and then, you know, like I said, with the amount of characters that went in, like I said, I remember being in the first night, and I just seen people walking in, and I thought, wow, there's some absolute characters here. Which one, Lewis? What's your what do you think was, you know, I'm guessing you're a fan of the show. What do you think, pound for pound, was the best year?
It was your year, and I've said that in when we filmed a couple of these before, the series 2 and 3. I've actually said that BB6 for me was when it changed in the sense that not theatre, but the fact, like this, like you said, coming into an entrance, and it just felt, and the characters you had in there, like Maxwell. I always still watch clips of Maxwell on YouTube because I just love the way that he didn't take any crap from anyone. You look at Kinga, yourself. There are so many big characters that everyone will remember now. Whereas if you look at other years, you'd really have to think who. You wouldn't have a clue. And Derek, I mean, listening to Derek tell science to fuck off is the funniest thing I think I've ever seen. Like it was an absolutely amazing year. We just had Craig text us saying that he's working until 9 and he sends his love.
Oh well,
send him that boring old git. If you got his number, I wouldn't mind talking to him as it goes one day.
I'll pass it on to you.
Yeah,
I was wondering. I was kind of, like I said, I'd never spoke to Craig for years. It ended kind of bad and bitter between me and Craig. I don't know whether Craig can remember, but the last correspondence we had was him sending a really real vile nasty text message, and then for me that was kind of that was it. I kind of thought there's not going to be any more any form of contact, anything from me, and there wasn't on his side. And anytime he was kind of in interviews, I think there was only a couple of interviews, but anytime he spoke about me, there was definite a lot of bitterness, and he didn't, from considering how much he got on with me in the house, it took a real U-turn. And looking back, obviously he was a young lad back then. I think was he like, did he turn bitter towards me?
No, it wasn't. This goes on his truth, and it's a bit moody talking about it. He didn't earn no money and he blamed you for it. That's what it was, 1,000,000%.
Yeah. Looking back, I think because of kind of how the public perception, I can imagine Craig had a bit of, for a period of time had a bit of a nightmare being out in public without kind of getting my name being mentioned. So I think obviously there was a lot of kind of bitterness on his side based on kind of how he came across and how the public perception was. And obviously
you for it.
Yeah. I think so. Looking at the situation with a wiser head on me, looking at it, but
fluffier head as well. Looks of it.
What's that?
A fluffier head as well,
mate.
Stylish
do not
head.
be, mate. This is an unbelievable barn, mate. Don't even.
Is that
right? That's the sort of thing. If I would take a picture of your hair and go into a barber's and say, right, can I have it like that? So it looks good. But I wonder,
Lewis, they'd say no, mate. They'd say no. I don't like that.
Maxwell, what stood out for you as the funniest moment? Something that you always look back on, whether it's a task or something that just stood out.
I'm nipping off for 2 minutes. I'm just quickly need to go to the toilet.
Funniest time.
Because you had so many. You were just, like I said,
there was nothing I sat there and thought, do you know what I just love? The day-to-day life in there. I like winding people up. There's nothing really that stands out. I quite like getting the piss taken out of me. Like when I'd done these tasks, I had to dress up as a baby because I'd done something wrong. Can't remember what it was. I remember I had a task where I was locked away in a little room by myself when everyone else was having a party. I quite like that. Everyone thought I would have the oven. I quite liked that. But funny was just day-to-day knocking about with like Anthony, Craig, Saskia. Day-to-day just having a laugh. I remember there was one time, I don't think they showed this particularly. They showed a lot of me and Anthony messing around. But there's one time me and Anthony had yourself, who can piss themselves first. So we're sitting there just outside, wear our pants. There's like
that's what I was gonna say in terms of like when I had such a laugh and such a scream, and it was me and Max. Honestly, we got on class and we were it was because we lived together. It was constant 24-hour banter. It was just kind of like just relentless kind of Mickey taking and thinking of like, I've always loved a practical joke, and Max, we were very similar with that type of stuff. So it was kind of non-stop banter, really.
So it's quite funny when we wrapped ourselves all in the bog roll that night and scared the fuck out of Kamal, wherever it was. It was quite funny. But as I remember, do you know what? To this day, I think it was I think Derek might have got in first, then Leslie, and then Sam, and then I went in after that, and I was fucking blind drunk because I'd been drinking all the booze I'd brought back from France, and the producers didn't have a clue. But I was steaming, and I was sitting there, and a few people come in, and then the door opened, and Anthony walked through the door, and I thought he put his head round, his little head round, and went, "Dudes!" I was like, "For fuck's sake, I thought that's on, get on with it, I'm getting on here." And then since that day, yeah, it was funny, it was good. It was just like I said, it was we got told we was out of order for not getting on with everyone, but just we didn't really suffer any falls, really. You know what I mean? We just sit there and have a laugh. Like Andy said, we was messy, and we'd literally sit in the front room. And we'd eat our dinner and just chuck the plates behind us because there's people that would just come and clean up after us. It's crazy.
Eugene, what about you? What stood out to you as kind of a special memory that you always look back with fondness?
2 section me as well,
I was just thinking there are a couple I could quickly mention. There was when me, Derek, Science, and all that were dressed as dogs, and an argument broke out. I think Maxwell mentioned that. Maxwell also, I think, mentioned the other day, another one. He mentioned the chicken task, which I'd forgotten, but we had to be hypnotised, and I had been told I had to be a chicken, and I was in the living room, and I have to. And obviously it was best that
Eugene, do that again. One more
Please
time.
do that again.
Go on, go on.
we're in the living room, and I've got to get out of the thing to really, put the drama on. And so I'm thinking, how can I open this door without stopping and and so I'm like banging into the glass. Apparently, a lot of people found that funny. But also there was what I call the drunk task, which was the one where I did the rubbish. But the best bit was I had to be something like an American window cleaner. And I'm sitting with Derek, and I've got to play this janitor who acts inappropriately when drunk. So I thought, well, I've got to play this up. So among other things, I'm saying to Derek, hey, America has done so many things to help you British. And Derek's like, oh my God. And there were these little chocolate profiteroles we were given. And I aimed myself, because I only had one glass of champagne to be drunk. And I'd go and say, and I'll do it up here, that's the table, and you go, and America is so great, and I splattered this profiterole, and Derek just oh my God. And then later I bashed into the table, and I also went up to Orla and said, hey, you're a bit of all right, and I slapped her right on the bum, and she looked
I didn't know that.
She went into the bedroom. She went into the bedroom and looked at my suitcase. It says acts inappropriately when drunk, because I thought, well, I've got to do this. And I felt really bad about it. But she said, I read your thing. I understand why you did it, because I think she was a bit angry with me. And it probably wouldn't be allowed nowadays, but I think it was safe enough that I got away with it.
Eugene, Maxwell missed your chicken impression, and I think it was too good for him not to see it.
Yeah, do it the third time.
A third time, right.
Oh, that's going to be a meme. Oh my gosh. So I want to just for the last question to find out what you guys actually do now.
The cozy's here.
That's hang on, Anthony. You've got your dog with you.
Yeah.
Maxwell, I forgot how funny you are until seeing you now. It just brings back watching every single night. Where it's just I love the push.
You're the funny one.
But do you know what was funny the other day? Right, someone put a clip up after our series. You know that box task that they showed. Yeah. Craig done about 3 days in a box, and he's come out, and I go, why did you get out in, Craig? I was in the kitchen, I've been out 20 minutes. I'd only been in there 20 minutes. He went, do you know what, Max? I'm just so claustrophobic. And I was sitting there, I went, yeah, you must be fucking claustrophobic 3 days in a box. What are you fucking talking about? Unbelievable.
You know what's good to see though? You know what's good to see that just shows you that
Well, sorry, mate.
You know what? it's good to see that the character never ages, does it? That's something that doesn't change. Like literally, I know me and you, Max, keep in touch and stuff, but like literally listening to you talk, and then Eugene, it's like nothing has changed.
Yeah.
Nothing has changed.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame we're at the other ends of the country, because I'm sure we're like Anthony. We don't. I think there's a reunion show at one point, and we might have had a beer. But when you're in that situation, you have a beer and it's just one night and everyone's getting on it.
Yeah.
Whereas if it was a bit easier to pop down a pub and just have an afternoon, we'd probably see each other a lot more.
What I was going to ask now is just for everyone to kind of say what they do now and what life's kind of been like since leaving the house. So starting with Eugene, what do you kind of do now, and what's your job?
He's a gardener, can't you tell?
Yeah, I'm not a very good gardener. No, I work.
Part-time chicken as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
part-time chicken, gardener.
Sorry, be quiet. Let's let Eugene talk.
No, I work for the BBC. I'm an engineer, and I work on those satellite vans at news events. So it's usually around London. So if you see a reporter standing outside the High Court or something like that, the chances are I might be the one behind the camera or with the van behind.
That's quality.
Still keeping busy. What about you, Maxwell? What have you done since kind of leaving the house, and what do you do now for a job?
Let's have a quick load down. So I come out, didn't expect to think. Anthony and Eugene know the same sort of thing. So I've done about 6 months of purely Big Brother PAs, and then off the back of that, me and Saskia done a Mr. and Mrs. tour, same pony. But this is the best job I had. On the strength of my PAs being up on the stage and getting a crowd involved, my job, I don't know if I told Anthony this, or I told him, I forgot. There was a magazine called it FHM High Street Honeys. The winners of the 3 winners of that, of Tanya Bardsley, who was on that thing, she was there, and a couple of other girls. It was my job to be the compere of their show.
Right.
So I'd meet them up, and basically I'd compare the FHM High Street Honeys show at all these nightclubs, terrible nightclubs, like the worst ones you can find. Do you know what I mean? Like Chasers in fucking, I don't know, Slough or whatever. But we done about another 6 months of that, and after that, like the money weren't coming in. I was still spending it all, and there's nothing. And I was like, "What am I going to do?" My pal had a company on the London Underground, so I started doing some work on now. I qualified as an electrician. It took me 3 years to do that. Hated it, so I qualified and then stopped doing it. Off the back of that, I got a job on the railways, and then my company sent me to Singapore. So I was working for 9 months in Singapore. I come back, didn't like doing that, and now I'm doing the knowledge full time and selling blinds. I'm selling all kinds. My mate's got a company called All Kinds of Blinds, so I'll go around doing a few sales for him in my little smart car. But what I'm doing is what I spend most of my life
doing. Nice.
That's a map of London behind me, so I've probably got.
If there was ever a textbook, black cab driver, like you're him.
Maxwell.
Yeah.
Do you watch EastEnders?
Who?
Do you watch EastEnders?
No, mate.
Has anyone ever said you look like someone from EastEnders?
Oh, not Patrick. Yeah, man.
You look identical to. He plays Martin Fowler, and if anyone looks him up, you look identical in the face as him.
What he's going to say, fucking Phil Mitchell? Then I was going to have to give you a count.
Anthony, I know that obviously it'd be nice to know what you did since leaving the house. You obviously had some money, the prize money. So what did you kind of spend that on, and how has life been for you in that time?
Well, it was such looking back, it was such a absolute whirlwind, like what happened. I think when you do something like Big Brother, I don't think there isn't any more extreme thing in terms of in the kind of the fame game. There's nothing more extreme than you can do than the Big Brother experience, because you had something where you're a run-of-the-mill person, and then you go into this house, and you come out, and literally like everybody knows your name, and it's
That's
like
mad, isn't it?
Yeah, and especially obviously we all went through it, and it was a very, very, very extreme experience what happened, because I was just a young, daft, absolutely daft as a brush, young 23-year-old lad from County Durham I'd never been to London until I had to go to London for my auditions. I was living with me mum and grandma, getting everything done for me. Could barely wipe his arse. And then I'd done, you know. So when I won, the day after I won, I had a load of agents wanting to meet me, and one of the agents wanting to meet me was it was John Knoll Management, and they were the last.
Oh, yeah.
That was the last agent
in
that I've
Camden.
seen.
He's in Camden,
Yeah.
isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, and they had some, like, you know, they kind of name dropped. They had Dermot O'Leary, they had Davina McCall, they had Russell Brand, they had Jade Goody on there. So I signed with them on the Saturday at about Saturday midday, and then they got me immediately got me a photo shoot with OK Magazine for 200k. And I don't like to kind of, I'm not bragging when I say 200k, you know, that I'm just kind of trying to tell you the extreme kind of roller coaster emotions that I had. So, you know, I was like, I'd made 250 grand in the space of 2 days, and then off that it was just, you know, for a decent while there was like there was a lot of fame there. Obviously I was a single lad. I was doing personal appearances.
I'm going to go in a minute. I can't handle the rest of this. This is what I missed out on this. I mean, I spent 200 grand on my hair transplant, but apart from that.
So yeah, I just absolutely, I was making, you know, a hell of a lot of money in running riot as a single lad. And so I'd done that. I'd done various stuff. I'd done like pantomimes. I'd done a program called The Match, which was where it was.
That was quality. That was.
Yeah, it was a football. That was kind of like playing in front of St James's Park in front of the 52,000 and getting man of the match both years was just that for me, that it was all worth doing Big Brother purely for that reason only. And then after that, when work dried up, that was a tough one to swallow, because again you had this extreme high of fame. Obviously your ego getting massaged, and you know I was living in London. When all that dried up, that was getting back to kind of like normality, where I realised, I thought, right, everything kind of work's dried up. What are you going to do? And kind of dealing with that was also, you know, wasn't easy. Luckily enough, I had, you know, strong mindset and close friends and an amazing family around me to kind of mend me back into normality. And then we turned back to hairdressing in barbering, which was what I'd done before Big Brother. And then the other two kind of main things I'd done is I got married to my amazing wife Sophie, and I set up. I had an idea of having a barbershop and a bar combined. So I've got Mr. Hutton's Barbers and Bar, and yeah, that's me.
So where's the bar too? And the barbers.
So the Barbers and Bar, it's in a town called Darlington, which is I've been based there for nearly 9 years. Darlington's about 45 minutes from Newcastle. It's a cracking town. That's where my wife's from. I met my wife doing her hair in Darlington, and then she pretty much kept me here, and happy as Larry. I live a very simple life now. Me, my wife, and my dog, and
Joe, I've got to say, you've always come across, just from seeing you on TV, especially in Big Brother, but even more so now, as someone so grounded and humble. and a really nice guy. I mean, even talking to you on Facebook when I'm setting this up, and same with Maxwell. You know, I've not spoke to you online, but just a lot of fun today. And I was a bit kind of concerned when Ola, Craig, and everyone did it. I haven't forgotten you, Eugene, by the way. I'm coming to you.
That's right. I'm sitting way up in the corner.
I was gutted when they, you know, I thought, okay, Craig's not coming on, so I knew that Ola probably wouldn't. But it's been brilliant just to hear from you and your experience, especially with you, Eugene, because you came in late into the show.
Making me sad a bit. It's sad.
I'm late for most things.
It's sad now.
And yeah, you're all such a nice group of people. I think the public will love to hear from you, and it's nice just to kind of see what you're doing now. But it's interesting what you said, Anthony. Obviously, from me as a viewer, we don't really put ourselves in your situation. You've gone from a show watched by millions, and you've had this kind of overnight fame, and then you're kind of left to your own devices to go out into the wide world of fame, and it must be a lot to deal with for all of you, really, when you're not used to it.
Yeah, but you know what? As well, also because because my wife heard Anthony's little fucking monologue there. I've got to say, I was married a beautiful woman just last Christmas, in fact, and she's the reason I slipped off a minute ago. She went, "You've got to try this. You've got to try." The food she makes is unbelievable. That's why I put on a little bit of terror.
Max, you've always punched. You've always got birds way out of your league.
Yeah, of course.
Always.
There's no point otherwise, is there? You might as well give it a go.
No, honestly, thank you so much for all of you coming on today. It's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you and just talk about your time in the house.
Yeah, no, it was really.
Yeah, just go on, Max. Sorry, mate.
No, that's it. You can talk.
No, it's just. I was pondering on whether to do it, and then I just thought, you know what, it was the Big Brother experience was awesome, and it's something that we will always share together. It was such a unique thing that we done, and I thought, you know what, it'll be nice to see everybody, and yeah, like it's really good seeing Max, seeing you again, and Eugene as well, mate. Really good seeing you as well. Yeah, I'm pleased everyone's kind of like looking well.
Yeah, of course, exactly that. Yeah, good.
There we go. Thank you for watching. That was the Big Brother 6 reunion with Anthony, Maxwell and Eugene. We were meant to have Craig and Ola on that one, like I said, but unfortunately they had to put out last minute due to work commitments. But don't forget to come back on Friday for the biggest reunion yet. Big Brother 7 stars will reunite to share their experience in the house.